3, 2,
Now going for two for the tie, and some trickery. How about that play?
1.
Relaxed and smiling.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Three3. I'm your host Connor Roundtree. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsWithTree. Coming in at number 3 this week is the Stanley Cup Finals, baby. Who would have thunk it? The Las Vegas Golden Knights versus the Washington Capitals. Now the action got started earlier this week on Monday in Las Vegas, and it was the Las Vegas Knights winning a back and forth game, 6-4, high scoring contest there obviously. Game 2 was a bit of a different story. Braden Holtby made 37 saves on 39 shots, and the Washington Capitals were able to edge out the Golden Knights 3-2. Holtby absolutely saved the game with that huge paddle save you see right there. It's just the second time Vegas has lost on home ice this playoffs. But they weren't the only ones to suffer a loss Wednesday evening. Yevgeny Kuznetsov, the leading scorer this postseason, is out. That's right, he's out for Game 3 with an upper body injury. As for the rest of the series, well, it's a best of 5 now, and I gotta go with the Vegas Golden Knights. They're averaging just 2 goals against per game this playoffs, and you know what they say, as cliche as it is, defense wins championships.
2.
Number 2 this week, not only is the Stanley Cup Final upon us, but it is also time for the NBA Championship. That tipped off on Thursday night, Game 1 at Oracle Arena in Oakland. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors for the 4th consecutive year. Golden State was able to squeak out the 124-114 victory. I know it's a 10-point margin, but the reason I say squeak out is Cleveland had a chance to win the game right near the buzzer, but Golden State was able to hold on and force overtime, and they just took over in OT. Now, I like the Golden State Warriors in this series going down the stretch. Steph Curry was 5 for 11 from 3, just under 50%. Klay Thompson, 5 for 10. And look, LeBron James put up 51 points, and still the Cavaliers could not win. So my pick is obviously the Warriors because of their depth.
1.
Number 1 this week, we got our first ever tennis action here on Three3. We're going over to the French Open in the City of Love, Paris, baby. That's right, it's the French Open down at Roland Garros. We'll start with the ladies, and my predictions for the women is Caroline Wozniacki. That's right, she won her first Grand Slam earlier this year in Australia. She's the number 2 ranked player right now, and if she can win here in Paris, then she will be ranked number 1. She's got a lot to play for. Not to mention in her round 2 match, she surrendered just 25 points in a match that lasted just over 50 minutes. As for the gentlemen, my pick has to be the clay court king, Rafael Nadal. Nadal hasn't lost a set at the French Open since 2015. Now granted, he was out of the 2016 tournament early with a wrist injury, but he came back last year and won out every single set to capture the hardware here at Roland Garros. He sports over a 90% career win percentage on clay, the only player in the history of tennis to do so, so he's my pick at this year's French Open. Thank you for joining us on this week's edition of Three3. As always, I'm your host, Connor Roundtree. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsWithTree. From all of us at Three3, we'd like to thank you for joining us, from our producer, Aaron Canton, and myself. Now, for our trivia question. The US Open is the longest running tournament on the LPGA. It is being played in a new state this year. I would give you the name of the golf course, but you'll have to figure that one out too. What is the name of the state and golf course that the tournament is being played at this weekend? Thank you for joining us on Three3. Cheers, you've made it to the weekend.